Hello, guys. I am here live with an interesting topic. I know everyone is looking forward to hearing about it. So now's a good time to click that subscribe button and share this with some of your friends. I know that your friends want to hear about TikTok, right? What's going on? So I saw several people posting today that TikTok was banned. We're gonna lose TikTok. What are we gonna do on their post? And I was like, wait a minute. I don't think they banned TikTok yet. And so after going and reading a couple of articles, I decided to come on and let you guys know exactly what the dealio is with TikTok. Do people still say dealio? Probably not. But to kind of let you give you the facts, the short and quick and simple facts about the TikTok ban and what's going on with that. So TikTok has not officially been banned yet, right? Okay, so today they had the House vote. So the House voted for it. The House vote. I'm using a USA Today article that I read, by the way. Um, they voted 352 to 65. One person voted president. Not sure why they ever do that, but why don't they just vote yay or nay? But anyway, the House voted for the ban, right? And so basically, the ban in effect is not like an absolute ban. TikTok would have 165 days actually if the bills passed and signed into law. Then TikTok would effectively have 165 days to um, to divest. So they would have to sell it to someone who is not, I guess, controlled or connected to the Chinese government, and they would have 165 days to do that. So even if the bill does pass and President Biden signs it, which he's already indicated that he would, we still have the hurdle of the Senate. So it's passing the House, but it also has to pass in the Senate, and then it has to go to the president for it to actually become law. So take a couple of deep breaths, guys. I know people are making a lot of money over there on TikTok. I'm just now getting over there. It's very different from different crowd, different flow over there than Facebook, which is where I primarily was a lot. And I'm also been trying to grow my YouTube. So you should click the subscribe button, by the way. But anyway, so it passed in the House, and so now it has to go to the Senate. The Senate leader, who is Chuck Schumer, he hasn't even said yet if he's gonna actually bring it to a vote, which is, you know, that causes another issue. So it's not as certain that it would even be brought to a vote in the Senate. Although public pressure and pressure, bipartisan pressure, it probably would be maybe. But it has to pass both the House and the Senate to even be to land on President Biden's desk. So that hasn't happened yet. TikTok is not banned. It's not over, guys. You can take a couple deep breaths and breathe. So the rest of what I wanted to just make sure that you understand is about, of course, we know TikTok is owned by a company called ByteDance, right? And it's connected to China. And so that is the concern. That is the reason or rationale behind this supposed push toward the ban or divestment or trying to make force the sale, because they say that all of these Americans whose information and data is there, and a lot of people, as I just said, are making money on TikTok with their videos and now selling their products. So with the TikTok store, and so because of that, it kind of puts all these Americans who are using the platform, it puts them at risk, right? The risk of exposure is great because if the Chinese government demands that they turn over the information, then they of course would have to do that. And so that is the primary concern or reason why the government says that they're pushing for this ban with TikTok. So let's see. It says 170 million Americans are actually using the app. And so on one side, we have the risk of exposure of people's personal data and banking information, all of that that the Chinese government would have access to. On the other side, there of course is the argument against the violation of free speech and people's right to do what they want to do, which we know that's slowly getting smaller and smaller. Well, it says that TikTok has said that one of the things that they've done to address the concern about free speech is that they actually store their data, they say, on U.S. servers. And so they brought in some big wigs today for the vote, and they had people lobbying, and there were people. I saw a couple of people on the news who were actually, or TikTokers, they're making a lot of money from it. One guy was almost about to cry, and I was like, "Wow, this is deep." But then he said that he was making, I think he said he was making like 4,000 a month or something like that. And so a lot of people have come to depend on their sales and all of the success that they're having on TikTok. And so it's a big deal to them. And so people were there lobbying, people were there protesting, some just for free speech, but some saying, hey, you're trying to cut out my way of survival and the way that I make money. So again, they would have to divest, or they would have to sell it to someone else. And so they have, even if the bill does pass, which again, it has to go to the Senate, they have to vote on it, it has to pass there, and then it has to go to President Biden's desk, which again, he's indicated that he would sign. But even if the bill does become law, they would have 165 days to comply. And so one of their arguments about that, they say that that's a small window of time to find somebody with enough money to be able to buy the platform, and also for them to be able to switch over the technology and the servers and all the things that would have to be done behind the scenes to keep it going. And so those are the concerns on that end. Let's see what else here interesting that you might want to know. So what about President Trump? We're kind of in primary season. President Biden and former President Trump are kind of looking like, I guess they're going to be the two people that we're going to be voting on in November. And you may remember that in 2020, President Trump tried to ban TikTok, right? So he tried to do an executive order, but it went into the courts. TikTok fought it, as they're saying that they're going to do with this proposed ban, and he ended up losing. But now he's flipped his position. He has actually come out in support of TikTok. Some people say that's because of the kind of beef he has with the owner of Facebook, and his belief that Facebook somehow contributed to his loss of the election. You people are on different sides of that. But anyway, so there's kind of like an internal perceived, I don't know if it's a real or perceived beef between Trump and Mark Zuckerberg. And so, of course, since Meta controls WhatsApp and Instagram and Facebook, that's also something that it talks about in the article, that if TikTok did go off the grid, then that would leave only YouTube Shorts and then Instagram Reels. And so it's kind of the competition space of seeing who can get their users if we were to lose TikTok. Let's see what else is here. So they did a poll, and it says that 31% of adults said that they favor a ban on TikTok, 35% oppose, but that's just regular Americans. I guess they didn't ask them if they would actually use TikTok. But of those who actually use TikTok, it says 73% said that they would oppose the ban. Well, of course they would, because they like being on there. I know some of you are probably familiar with the recent person who came on and talked about her failed marriage and all the things that happen with that. And a lot of money is being made on that. Promoters, advertisers, agencies, all this kind of stuff. So people, again, entrepreneurs are finding success on TikTok, and so people don't want to see it go away. So let's see, what does TikTok say? They say that 7 million small businesses are being supported by TikTok, and 170 million Americans use their service. So they tried to do like a social media push to get all their creators to call members of Congress, but that didn't really go so well. And so now it says they've been trying to get other creators to help them with the lobbying and promotion of saying, hey, this is a violation of free speech, don't do this. And so I've seen a lot of people getting, pretty passionate about it, because it is their livelihood. And for some people, it's just a huge way that they entertain themselves. So it says that if they do get banned, what does TikTok have in mind? Of course, everybody's already lawyered up, and they'll lawyer up again. Well, not again, but they'll fight it. They said if it does actually come into it. And it said, let's see, one of the challenges also, like we talked about, is someone else buying the company. Well, that could create a problem, because we have antitrust laws in place which try to keep all of these big companies from just getting bigger and bigger and buying up everything. And so for somebody like Meta to buy TikTok would mean that they would have a perceived monopoly, perhaps. And so that creates another obstacle with them being able to find somebody with enough money to be able to buy the company. I did see over here how much the company was worth. I think I highlighted it. I have to scan really quickly to see. It was in the billions. Yeah, it says that ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok, says that they value itself at more than 200 billion, right? 200 billion. That's a lot of money. So most people don't have that kind of money just hanging around at home under the mattress, right? So it says that if it is effectually banned, then how that ban would work is then the stores that we buy the apps from here in America, Google and Apple Play, they would not be allowed to distribute or update TikTok. And so that's how the ban would work. Um, it says, why do you think Trump may have switched? We talked about the probably perceived or real beef between he and Mark Zuckerberg. Also, because, as I said earlier, we're getting ready to come up for an election, right? With Donald Trump and Joe Biden, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. And so by his support of TikTok, he can generate, I'm sure, a lot of the support from younger voters, which may have not been something that he had in the past until he launched this new line of gold sneakers, right? So all of this is very interesting because again, people are used over 170 million Americans, not just Americans, but over 170 million Americans use TikTok. And so it's a big deal. And I just saw a lot of people saying TikTok's been banned, TikTok's been banned. I was like, wait a minute, this is like misinformation. We're going back to people's stuff getting flagged for misinformation. So I just wanted to come on and give you some highlights. Wanted it to be under 10 minutes, didn't quite make it, but I think that's pretty much it. Again, I got this information from a USA Today article. I read the article and then just kind of highlighted the hot spots from the article because I know a lot of people were interested in it. Let's see. We talked about the fact that if they banned it, it would create a monopoly, and that people's go-to options at that point for reels and short videos would only be reels, which is by Instagram, or shorts by YouTube. So that's kind of all the information that I have for you. You can go and check out the article yourself if you want to read every line, which I know most people want the short version. And also, it did say that I think in 2020, India banned TikTok, right? And more than 200 other apps. So it's not uncommon for nations to ban apps that they think are harmful to their citizens, but that's not something that we've seen really in the United States. So stay tuned, guys, but you can take a deep breath, relax. TikTok is still alive and well, at least until we hear whether the Senate is going to bring it to a vote and whether President Biden signs the bill into law. So that's it. That's all I have for you today. Just wanted to keep you abreast of the hot topic of what's going on with TikTok. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with some friends. I'll check you out later.